Hi, everybody. I'm Chris Metzler, one of the programmers here at SF DocFest, and thank you for joining us. You've just had a chance to see the really great film, Museum of the Revolution, and we're lucky enough to have director Serjan Kece here. Welcome, Serjan.
Hi, nice to have you.
Well, it's really cool to have your film, but also neat that you're here in the Bay Area and just down the street teaching in the Stanford Doc program. So always kind of neat to welcome local filmmakers home. Can you tell us a little bit about how did you kind of decide that there was this kind of larger story that you wanted to tell, and that there was that you kind of wanted to go down the rabbit hole of making this movie?
Yeah, so it all started way back in like 2014 when I started working with a group of architects who were interested in this building of what was supposed to be the Museum of the Revolution and its kind of remnants. And then I worked together with them to make this site-specific installation for the Venice Biennale of Architecture. So the whole thing kind of started from the bigger picture. And then through the process of making that installation piece, because we were filming inside the space there, I met the community who lived there. And one of the first people I met there was Mara, the old lady who appears in the film. And then my assistant director, Radiša Cvetković, and we just became friends with Mara and her now late partner. And we just continued visiting, after we finished that piece. And I kind of had a hunch that there was something bigger there to make than that installation, and something for more like a theatrical audience or something like that. That's not doesn't kind of exist in this art world. Something more inclusive, let's say, like a feature film. And we just sort of over the next couple of years continued going to that place, not really seeing how to enter that story, but it was more like kind of maintaining that friendship with Mara and her partner. And then eventually I saw her one day playing with the little girl Milica, and it was like a snowy January day. And I think in that moment, just kind of everything clicked. And I was like, well, there's a film here. I don't know exactly what it's going to be, but let's start making it. And then we started shooting the next day with the two of them. And the film kind of slowly evolved from that point on. So I was already familiar with the community for quite a while, before starting to make the film. But it kind of started, it didn't start from the protagonist. It started from this bigger picture of the society and the city and what that building was supposed to be. And then kind of started again, actually, from the other side, from the other end, from the protagonists.
And, there's something interesting that you mentioned, is this idea of like, you knew that there was a film there, but you didn't quite know that it was, When you kind of take those sorts of leap of faith, I mean, do you have anxiety about it, or is that curiosity just kind of excitement? Like, is there any sort of trepidation, I guess, when you don't know where a film is going to go, but I guess that you just kind of have to follow that.
No, the trepidation comes in the edit, but I think it's, when we're filming, it's like the whole universe opens up in front of you, and I just kind of start trying to piece this puzzle together while, we were filming with the protagonist of the film a lot, and kind of being with them for weeks and months on end, just spending time with them, and often not filming and doing other things. So it's just there's no anxiety about the film at that point, right? Because the film is kind of being born right there and then. I mean, I think the anxiety definitely comes later, where you're there's just a lot more at stake as you go along, right? After a couple of years of working, there's just more and more at stake. And then the anxiety does kind of creep up on you a little bit, or creep up on me, rather. But at that first moment, it's just, everything is perfect.
And what was your kind of, how do you think your kind of aesthetic approach kind of changed or evolved from the kind of art piece to the kind of more theatrical documentary? And so how did you kind of balance that of like choosing an aesthetic that kind of worked for the story, but was also accessible?
Yeah, I think the piece was very much, about the space itself. And so the installation piece. But then later on, I made another version of that installation piece, which then explored the ideas of the architect a little bit more. And so I was kind of working with this material. When we started shooting the film, I decided to kind of start over in a way. Maybe I incorporated a couple of shots that were in the original installation in the final film, but most of it is really kind of shot from scratch. And it was a very different kind of a set of aesthetic choices. It was sort of really starting from building the universe of the protagonists and kind of respecting that completely, and then finding ways for that to open up to this broader context of the space and the society. So it was kind of, yeah, it was really identifying opportunities within that language that was very, very close to the protagonists and kind of really respectful of their little universe, right? So there's only so much kind of dancing, if you like, that as a director you can do around that, right? Once you commit to those, to that kind of set of choices. Yeah, but the installation was, like, again, a very different kind of language, I think.
Given their different kind of passions and ideologies, have you had a chance to kind of share the film with them, and like, what was their response, I guess?
Yeah. I mean, I think when people watch a film in which they appear, I mean, I remember like watching it together with some of the community, and then they were just, a lot of people who kind of just appear on the kind of fringes of the film were also our very close friends, and they don't necessarily, some of them don't even appear at all, but they were there, right? It's a bigger community than what appears in the film, which focuses on these three protagonists. But so when we were watching together, they kind of talk over the film the entire time, and like, oh, so it's like they kind of don't watch the same film that I see there. So, but it's fine, and it's, it kind of links to the same thing about like respecting their universe in a way in the film, where the people who lived in that space most of them didn't even know what that space was supposed to be. They didn't care, and in a way I wanted to respect the fact that they didn't care about that history, and that all of the kind of historical context that we built in the film was us, like the filmmakers, and
Right.
to kind of own that this is something that we're building on top of their lives, but their lives are kind of in this very isolated environment, which has very little contact with the kind of more visible city of Belgrade, let's say.
I love how you put that. One of the things I always kind of try to remind our audiences at film festivals that, we're lucky enough that filmmakers like you, share your films with us in these kind of early stages. And so what are ways that folks can kind of continue to kind of either follow the story or also just kind of spread the news about the film?
So we're right now starting, I mean, as I speak, and this is where what is today that I'm saying these words.
Early May 2023.
It's early May, so it's like May 9th, right? So right now we're moving towards this theatrical release. We're screening in May at DCTV, and then hoping to kind of get some more theaters on board. If anyone knows any theater who would be interested to pick this film up, we don't have distribution, but this is a film that was really made for theaters. We've had some theatrical releases in Europe, which were really successful and wonderful. Like in the US, we're kind of doing it without a distributor at the moment, but trying to get it seen in theaters, and then at festivals like SF Doc Fest.
Okay. Well, very cool. Well, thanks again for sharing the film with us. It's just a really lovely film, and it was kind of neat to stumble upon it and get a chance to share it here in the Bay Area. And for folks, just remember to kind of let folks know that you just saw this really great film, Museum of the Revolution, and let them know that it might be coming to a city near them. Take care.
Thank you. Bye. All right.